Hello, gentle viewers. This is Aventian welcoming you to a new, very short series called March of the Eagles. Those of you who aren't familiar with it, March of the Eagles is a little-known game by Paradox Development Studio that I consider the spiritual successor to EU3. It's basically a pure war game, unlike some of Paradox's other classics. Because there's not a whole lot to do in peacetime. But it's a really fun short game that takes place in the Napoleonic era, and I think the best way to explain it to you is just to show it to you. So, we're going to be choosing, so the Grand Campaign starts in 1805, shortly before the Battle of Trafalgar in real life. We're going to be picking Russia. Now the first thing you should notice is that the map is very small compared to your other Paradox games. It only includes Europe, plus Iceland, and it includes a little bit of North Africa. So we're going to be playing as Russia. We can see right now we begin at war with Persia, so we'll have plenty of interesting things to do. And you can see already some of the things that made their way into games like EU4. For example, we've got military economy and diplomacy, just like military administration and diplomacy, which is what's currently in EU4. So we're going to be playing as Russia, and let's just go ahead and hit play. We'll go ahead and play on normal difficulty. I don't want to change anything else because it's been a long time since I've played this. So here we go. It tells us all these wonderful things. Great Britain has formed a coalition against France. So this is one of the first Paradox games. Let's actually change the map view to political so you can see everything. This is one of the first Paradox games to really work with... I'm sorry, my memory just completely blanked. Whoopsie, sorry. This is one of the first Paradox games to really work with this idea of coalitions. Unlike other Paradox games, you win or lose as a coalition. It's also possible to win outside a coalition if you so choose. So we have unemployed leaders we'll need to do things with. We have ideas we're going to need to work on, and some other things. So let's take a look at things starting at the top of the screen. So we're making quite a few ducats, which is very nice. We've got a goodly number of prestige. Prestige is one of the ways you win the game. Very good manpower, the best in the world. Quite a few diplomats to make decisions, and our war exhaustion is kind of meh. This screen is really important. This tells you that France is the leader, is the dominant land power, and you get this by achieving victory points. Kind of like Hearts of Iron 3 and 4, you get victory points. And Britain is the leader at sea. Quite obviously, we're not going to be achieving victory at sea. If you click on the button, it takes you directly to this. So right now, Britain is at war with France, the Netherlands, Italy, Switzerland, Tuscany, and Papacy. Brunswick has joined the coalition, so they could join the war later on. Whereas France is actually has a much larger coalition, which includes Spain, and things might happen going from there. So we have the overview. Alexander I Romanov is a very fine military and diplomatic leader, not such a good administrator. According to dominance, and this shows you all the victory points in the game, we hold a few of these. Does Persia have any? Because Persia is going to be our very first target. They do not. Oh, that's naval provinces. Whoopsie. They do. Sakaz is controlled by Persia. Very nice. So, our short-term goals, by the way, those of you who are coming here from the Paradox AAR forum, welcome. Our short-term goals, as you already know, are going to be to take out Persia and then the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire is going to be tricky, but we'll see what we can do to make that happen. We have no decisions as of yet to worry about. And this tells you what the different things do here. Diplomats increase your reforce speed to reduce the cost for peace. Military makes all of your morale better, and then administration increases your national tax and national manpower. So that's our overview screen. Victory conditions. So this tells you what you need to do to win the game. Most prestigious colony countries are first Britain, then France, then us. We're far behind France on land and far behind Britain at sea, although we can catch up on land. And this has all the victory conditions in the game. Note that victory cities are different for every time you play. For example, I did a Spain AAR on the Paradox forums, and I had victory cities in France. I don't have any of those as Russia because the game is weighted so that it's reasonable for any country to win the game. I don't have to attack places like Paris or London, but I do have to attack places like Warsaw, held by Prussia, Radom, held by Austria. Yeah, that's an objective here. I can check it out on the map, and I can talk to people. Now, you can win if either you control these territories, or if you're in a coalition that has control of those territories. So coalitions can win the game, or individual countries can win the game. Either one is possible. The game automatically stops, I believe, in 1815, possibly 1821. Actually, I think it is 1821. I think it runs to the end, and then the game is over. Budget, there's not a whole lot you can do to increase budget, but you can build buildings, and we might take a look about that here in a second. Right now we're making quite a bit of income, which is always lovely. Military breaks down all your different units in the game and the units that you can build. So you have garrison brigades, which have very high defense, so they're good to keep behind the lines, as opposed to a line garrison brigade, which is just a better version of it. Each side gets some unique units. We have the Opolchenia Brigade, which should be, yeah, they're militia. Militia are really cheap, but don't have very good attack values. And we'll talk more about the war as I remember what they do, because to be honest, it's been a long time since I've played this game. Ideas are a big idea pun somewhat intended, we'll say, taken by EU4. And different ideas give you different things here. Every country has its own ideas. So, for example, our first idea could be Cossacks, in which we get free, reduced cost cavalry. We could reduce the cost of ships. We could improve our infantry attack. We could reduce our land attrition. Navy sail speed. You can do March to the Sound of Guns, which is a really cool concept, which basically means that at any time there's a battle, every army will go toward the battle if you have this ability turned on, which is really cool. One of the things that March of the Eagles innovated that was used to a lesser extent in Hearts of Iron 4. We can get a reduction to interest for taking out loans, but as you see, as you move up, things get a little bit better over time. Better artillery defense, better shocks, and increased diplomatic skill. Because we're going to be an infantry-heavy army to begin the game, I like the idea of spending our time on volley fire for better infantry attack. So we'll go ahead and take that. And then I will gain ideas every month, and actually losing battles, and this is a cool mechanic, will get you more idea points than winning them will. So this means if you're beaten badly, as in real life, Prussia and Austria were beaten quite badly by France in 1806, you can recover very, very quickly. And you can be a more aggressive army in that case. And then finally we have diplomacy. So, what I would like to do, if possible, is get Prussia and Austria to at least like me. They don't have to love me. I have no target that I can use for a coalition. That's fine. Yeah, they really dislike me. I'm going to go ahead and send a diplomat to increase relations. It costs prestige. I've forgotten about that. It's worth it. And I'd like to do the same for Austria, because I don't want either Austria or Prussia stabbing me in the back while I'm busy with the Ottoman Empire and Persia. So we're at war. We have unemployed leaders. So let's take a look at our army here. So much like Crusader kings, we have 3 flanks. Why can I not name? You click on the thing here. That's fine. And every army also has reserves. Reserves may or may not join the battlefield. If we click on the little exclamation point here, you can tell how these things work. So we'll notice that our attack isn't great. Okay, what are our units actually made of here? It's line infantry, cavalry, and artillery, with a little bit of supply units. That's 1 brigade, that's 2, that's 1. Okay. So, we can tell armies to hide in fortresses. So we have 1 in Tiflis, otherwise known as Tbilisi, for the Georgians of the day. And these all are forts. If you take a fort, you take most of the area around it. This was also used for EU4. So let's go ahead, and we want to make sure that we've got a really strong... so you have maneuver, offense, defense, number of traits, which we can talk about in a minute, and then overall expertise. So we'll sort by overall expertise. We have Yevgeny Ivanovich Markov, Charles D. Lambert, and notice no one has any traits. You'll get these as the game progresses. So we'll put Markov in the center. We will put Lambert on the right. Paul von der Pallen on the left. And then Ivan Vasilyevich Guderian? Gudovich. I didn't know who he was. The reserves typically don't matter as much. It's not the end of the world if they're not super well. So we can protect supplies. We can have them avoid battles if we so choose. And they will stand and fight and all this other stuff. Let's see here. Our Ostrakhan army should also have... They're going to be our primary line of reinforcements. So I have Prince Eugen von Württemberg. Absolutely. Vasily Vasilyevich Orlov Denisov. Dmitry Dmitrievich Shepelov. And then Karpov is perfectly fine. And we're going to start moving you here. Who else do we have here? We have no one on the Ottoman border, which we'll need to change. On Rostov here, we have 19,000, and you see here we already have some people here. Who is Nikolai Nikolaevich? Raevsky, there we are. Who's pretty decent, not brilliant, but pretty decent. We'll get Kamensky on the flank. Do I want to start sending you out? Possibly. Let's get you down to Mykop. You I'm just going to go ahead and send down to here. I want to try to get the small armies consolidated. Kiev has a formidable army. Let's go ahead and give it some generals. I'm just picking right now the best overall generals, and we can look and make things better later on as we need to. So we have a couple of armies on the border, actually. You'll notice I'm putting all of my best generals in the armies most likely to see war right away. Let's move you up. Odessa definitely needs some better army. We're starting to run low on generals, which is to be expected with Russia. This one's already filled out. Very nice. 22,000 there. 14,000. What is this? Moscow? Smolensk. Let's get you some leaders. You gain nothing, by the way, for not using leaders. So I'm just going to go ahead and load up these people. Here's Moscow. Who is this? Kutuzov? Yep, there's Kutuzov. And Moscow. We've got Yermolov. O'Rourke. And then in St. Petersburg and Kronstadt, we should have quite a few here. Grand Duke Konstantin Pavlovich, part of the royal family, as he is a Grand Duke. Where's Barclay d'Italy? We have Korchakov, and then Bagration in the reserves here. And then Alexander I in Viborg, Finland, and he's in the reserves. And we don't want to lose him, so we're actually kind of fine with that. We do have a small fleet. It's not a very big one. And we also have one in Sevastopol, who also has Bhagavut, Mikhail Mikhailovich Borozdin, and you can have a leader there. 3 unemployed leaders. I have admirals to assign. Senyavin, please and thank you. And then we have a lot of armies to manage, which is the good thing and the bad thing about Russia. Ushakov is pretty good. We can keep him there. I have no qualms about that whatsoever. Okay. So we'll look at an army like Moscow. We see it's got line infantry. Guard infantry are your heavy infantry, and only certain leaders can command them. But they're definitely worth it if you have the right leaders. We have cavalry. Cavalry is really good against morale. Artillery, which does damage at a distance, and then light infantry and militia, followed by the service group. So if we click on one of these, we can actually start building things. Or we can click on a province and do the same. I would like to be building things in Tiflis. So you can make buildings, you can build forts, you can develop your province so it creates more taxes, and you can upgrade roads. One of the downsides of this particular game is that there's not a lot to do in peacetime, which is fine. We're not going to be at peacetime all that often. Instead, we can think about recruiting brigades. So you've got your different sizes, your manpower cost, your build time, speed, attack rating, defense rating, those are pretty standard. Initiative, which who goes first in battle. Morale, how long they can last. Frontage. I don't remember, does it list province frontage? I think it's based on territory. We'll have to take a look at an actual battle when we see one. So what do we want to recruit? Let's get the outliner up. Oh, this just lists all my cities. That's not very helpful. What would I like to do? Ooh, the Ottomans are doing something. You can see them marching away. What are the Ottomans up to? You can request expeditionary forces from a satellite, which is fine. I think there's nothing left to do but go ahead and just play the game at this point. I don't remember. Is there? Yeah, there is an easier way to build forces. Yeah, you just do it from this screen here. Okay, what do I want? I see it doesn't list all the stats. You can click affordable, which lets you build everything you can possibly afford. Let's see here. I don't think we have any guard brigades. I think that's the problem. I don't think anyone I have can lead guard brigades. Which would be really good if they could. It'd be amazing if they could. We've got some light infantry brigades. I'm probably not going to be bothering much with these. Partisans have their advantages. Marines, we may need those at some point. And then we've got various cavalry brigades. Let me go ahead and raise a couple of Cossack brigades. Oh, that's right. You can click one or the other. Cossack brigades. I would like them in Tiflis. Where's Vladikavkaz? You can do cities only, if you are so inclined. No, I don't want Riga. I want Tiflis. And I want Vladikavkaz. I'm not sure how these are sorted. Oh, there we go. I can have sorted alphabetically. Brilliant. And then I'm just going to add these all in the areas near Persia and the Ottoman Empire. Alright, let's go ahead and order them built. It's only going to cost a little bit of gold and a little bit of manpower. Now, the one thing we could do, because we're bloody Russia, just out of curiosity, how much would it cost us to build... Yeah, we could actually build 156,000 infantry just right now. We're not going to do it, but we could. We could tell them just to build them in cities if we wanted to. Let's raise an infantry regiment in each one of these cities. And I'll just gather them together a little bit later on. That's a good use of manpower, and then we'll combine them with the cavalry later on. I don't think I know how strong Persia is. Is there any way I can find how powerful they are? Use Portugal as a natural rival. Oh dear. I think we just go ahead and just test them. So you're coming down from Astrakhan. We could use some artillery. We've got some. You guys are militia, so you're not going to be super helpful. You're marching down to Maikop. You're not doing anybody any good all the way back here. Let's get you down to Vladikavkaz. And I think it's about time to start actually fighting. Let's see what happens. So let's go and advance into their territory. They're already asking for peace. That's not going to bloody happen. Marching into Persian territory. Now the problem is this is all we've got right now. Is this little bit of land. Is this little army. So until the rest of the army gets here, we've got to be somewhat careful. And notice, the moment I landed here, the province became mine. So we're actually going to go ahead and try to take our first town, this town here, Yerevan, in modern-day Armenia. It just makes sense to add this to our collection. Let's increase the speed. You'll notice it can go very quickly indeed. Okay, the British are giving us an option. So they'll pay us money to join the coalition. I don't want to do this yet. My overall goal is to take down Persia and then the Ottomans. And I'd rather do that on my own, so I don't have to share the glory. So I will decline. And I forgot how fast this game can be. Okay, right away we've learned something very important. And that is that we are horribly, horribly outgunned. Until we get the rest of this here. And we can go to the detail view and it tells you all the different brigades and all this fun stuff. You can send things to the different flanks. It helps to have reserves in battle, though. It definitely helps. And you can even have it do different strategies as you like. And as you add certain units, you get different access to different strategies. So it's a very complex tactical game, or it can be, if you want it to. Okay, you get up to Tiflis. You get up to Tiflis. You get up to Tiflis. And we're on our very first battle, and this is going to go extremely poorly, I have a feeling. So much like Crusader Kings, we'll actually slow down things for this battle. You have the 3 flanks. You'll notice we don't have a leader here. Oh, they don't. So we get a bonus to attack from having enough logistics. We both rolled a 3. Commander-in-Chief, increase the attack of flanks. You'll notice ours are much better than theirs, but they have so many people that I don't expect to win this battle. I'll be honest here, I don't have any prayer of winning this battle, and if I do, it'll be a bloody miracle. I'm going to go ahead and pull out. So you'll see here, it gives you a really interesting tactical battle, and it gives you a feeling of how the battles actually work. Oh, we gain Fast Marcher. Very nice. I hugely underestimated exactly how big their armies would be. The good news is, so Abbas Mirza Shah, this is their king's army. Now what you can do is you can tell people to retreat into a fort. And they'll get some protection that way. When do the rest of you guys get here? Here we go. So that battle went about as poorly as we could expect. They're going to get to Tiflis before we do. Change of plans. Let's get into the fortress. So, this means that they will hide in the fortress until the rest of the army gets here. So we'll change your orders, go to Vladikov Kaz, move up. I think I'm even going to have to pull these guys out and have them in the background. So, because we're in the fortress, unless they siege the fortress, they can't attack that army. Which is pretty handy as these things go, because we don't want them attacking our armies just yet. And I think he's going to retreat back into Persian territory, which will give us time to gather our strength. Let's see here. I think we can kick up the speed a little bit farther. Okay, they're splitting up their army, but I'm still not quite sure what they're doing with it. We've got the Caucasus Mountains right here, so any attacks they do are likely to be very bad for them. Okay. We're going to wait a little bit longer. These guys are almost here. This is the army we're waiting on. This is going to give us the bulk of our forces. And a big enough force for a counterattack. especially if it's led by confident leaders. Persia wants, what, a white peace? They want me to concede defeat. That's not going to bloody happen. You won one battle, dude. Move up to Vladikov cause. What are you, mostly militia? No, you're good line troops and cavalry. Okay. Because we have better leaders than they do, and the bonus to infantry attack from taking our leader, we should actually be able to win this battle. So let's go ahead, merge the armies. Alright, and let's go to the detail view. So let's see here. We can delay for a bonus to defense only, but not attack. We can hold, which is a huge bonus to defense. Or we can do regular strategy. We can refuse, which offers a bonus to attack, but no bonus to defense. I think this would be perfect. Let's go ahead and refuse the left flank to have it attack harder. Center will hold. And why can't I hold in the right? Ah, because you don't have enough infantry. What are you, mostly cavalry? Ah, you're cavalry and militia. Which actually makes you a good counter-punching army. There we go. So, if everything goes according to plan, our cavalry, our center will hold. The right flank will counter-punch if it sees an opportunity, but the left flank is going to refuse, which will attack a little bit less aggressively and go after the flank. Do I want to do that? No, this is actually a really bad idea. Actually, we'll refuse with this flank, and we'll counter-punch with this flank. Because this one has more infantry. I don't have very much artillery here. That could be a problem. But we'll see what happens. Artillery may be something we need to build here. Okay, I'm comfortable with this army. Let's march to Tiflis. And we are taking some attrition because we're in the mountains. Which is fine. I mean, it's not fine, but we can't do anything about it. What are you guys doing? It will only retreat if the enemy forces advance. Yeah, we're gonna need to build up some artillery, I think, at some stage in the not too distant future. And you're going to get there on 30th March, and then we can make our decisions from there. Come on. See, look, as they abandon a province, they will actually lose the ability. And we're going to merge everybody. And then let's make sure now that everyone is merged in, does it still make sense? Yeah, we'll still use the cavalry to refuse this flank. These guys will counter-punch if they get the chance, but the main center here will hold. I could have moved units from the reserves out, but let's go ahead and attack. This should be an easy victory, unless they run away first, which they very well might. Okay, so they're going to leave on 7th April, and we're going to get there on 4th April, so this army is trapped. So. Okay, we have a frontage modifier. We only get a frontage amount 15 in the mountains, which means we're going to be taking an awful lot of damage in this. There's nothing that can be helped with that. I can move people into the reserves to avoid that. We get a river crossing penalty, but nonetheless. So, there are 3 phases. Bombard, which is mostly artillery, combat, which is mostly infantry, and cavalry, which is mostly, well, cavalry. Pursuit, which is mostly cavalry. They have no leaders, so even though we've got penalties, we should win this battle pretty easily. And we did exactly that. A victory indeed. At Talavi. The enemy line looked strong and unbreakable, but this could not be so. Matvey Ivanovich Platov knew that no matter how strong an enemy position seemed, there was always a weak point. Very nice. We got some lovely bonuses here. And Kutaisov got Careful Planner. And Careful Planner reduces land attrition, but also reduces the army's marching speed. We need someone to get the guard. He's fast marcher, so there we are. So, a victory. But we've learned a lesson, and that lesson is we should be transferring some of these units to the reserves so that they can join the battle if they're needed, and I think we'll do this with mostly militia. Because you don't want militia on the front lines anyway. So, you can go to the militia. No, I don't want you on the right flank. I want you in the reserve. Okay, and then one more. And there we go. Nope, you need to go down as well. Here he goes. The Tobolsk regiment should be going to the reserve. So now most of our militia is there. I could actually pull the light infantry. I actually want the line infantry in the center of our line. Okay, so we've got 5, 6, and 5, and we learned 15 is the max. I don't really need light infantry, to be honest. So we'll go ahead and put you in the reserves. And there we go. Now we have a perfect unit for fighting in the mountains, and we can shift people around as we need to. So in our next battle, we should notice that we don't have a frontage penalty. And a good reserve commander will move people from the reserves to the front of the line as it sees fit. Let's merge you. Let's merge you. Alright, how are things going here? You're a pretty experienced group. You're actually a really well-balanced group, too. You'd be actually a really good second army to have. Move you up to Tiflis. No, Vladikov Kaz for right now. And we're going to keep our strategy that seemed to have worked the last time. I don't see any need to change our arrangements here. Supply units, mostly militia. Yeah, we'll refuse the one side. Cavalry will be used very effectively here. And then we attack from there. And then as we build up better concentrations of units, we'll notice many, many, many more bonuses. Let's attack into their territory now. Now, one problem is this army is going to be really slow. And the British want us to join the coalition again. The answer is no. Let's attack their forts. I think this is a good decision and will help us tremendously. So they're going to be leaving on the 24th. We're going to get them on the 23rd. We should be able to wipe out this army. Okay. So we got the river crossing penalty, but notice a desert actually has a frontage of 50. So actually this would have been one of these times to actually beef up our army by putting more people in the front lines. But it's fine. And we just crushed them, as I highly expected we would. Notice we get 1.5 ideas, they get 30. But we gain some prestige. We got Impetuous Commander, and Disciplined Marcher. And I think we just wiped out their whole army there. So we can choose to assault the fortress if we want, and we'd probably win. But we can honestly just sit here for a bit. We attacked their garrison, and we defeated it. So just like Crusader Kings, you're going to get different events each day. I think we take this army. Let's merge these together. And how do I want to do this? I think we'll just put everyone on default behavior. I will actually send light infantry to the reserve. And I will actually move one of these cavalry up. Put them on the right flank. There we go. And I will actually let you refuse because you're mostly cavalry. Deliberate assault. You have to have a mixture of everything. Everything suddenly goes wrong. Counterpunch. We'll do counterpunch here. And then we'll just go ahead and use delaying tactics. We're going to be fighting mostly offensively, so actually I think counterpunch is fine here too. And then I want you marching on Yerevan. We've got a really big army, I'll be honest with you. We probably shouldn't be doing this. Alright, lacks supplies, light damage to the fortress, very nice. We're at 2% for the war score. Persia's back to wanting white peace, a sure sign that we're winning. So because it's only a 2 to 3 time a week series right now, we're going to make the episodes a little bit longer. And we'll see what happens as a result here. Just light damage. We don't have the artillery, that's the problem. It's going to take us a long time to take down those fortresses. Fair amount of damage. Let's go ahead while I'm thinking of it and build some artillery. What do we want? Foot artillery has high attack. Horse artillery is faster but has less attack. And flat artillery, what's there in between flat artillery and foot artillery? It might be the same. I think they're the same. Yeah, they're exactly the same. That's really weird. Huh. Horse artillery has the advantage of moving really fast, but we really need just flat artillery. I'm really trying to figure out if there's a difference. That's one of the weaknesses of March of the Eagles, by the way. Sometimes they have units that look exactly the same, and there's no obvious reason that they should be different. I have no idea. Give me some artillery batteries. Yeah, build them in cities only. You know, let's just build them in Tiflis. And then I want artillery. I want foot artillery. Yeah, see, look, it's exactly the same as... I don't know what the difference is. It's all the same to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. And let's build 5 up in the Vladikavkaz. There we go. That'll add us some, that'll give us some oomph to our sieges that we're lacking right now. We don't have the capabilities to continue with this. And that's fine for right now. and then we can add them to our armies as things progress. How are we doing for artillery in this army? This army has a little more artillery, so it should be doing more damage. So, fair amount of damage. The assault would probably fail, so there's no reason not to just sit here and wait. So there's fortress, there's no harbor, so there's no worries there, and there's no supply depot. Hang on one moment here. Oh, that's actually fine. I don't have to worry about losing that territory. Here's different things happening in the world. Hanover declares its independence from Brunswick. Looks march to the sound of guns. It's a pretty cool thing, I'm not going to lie to you. Let's see. Great deal of damage. The wall is breached. We can just sit and wait here. I mean, we've destroyed their army. There's no reason to wet rush things. Do I want to bring up another army? I don't see much point. I genuinely don't see a point to bringing up more armies right now. And you guys aren't doing any good. We've won a siege at Sakesh. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be. And here goes their garrison trying to flee. We will crush them. And we're just going to pretty much steamroll them. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. A bonus, entrencher. Very nice. And there should be a button to automatically detach. Yeah, we detach one brigade. And he's actually going to stick around now and look after the province to make sure it's not instantly retaken. We won the siege of Yerevan. Very nice. Let's march down to Kulia. Britain still wants us to join the coalition. I say no. We're losing lots and lots of troops at this point. You march on Tabriz. You head on down. There we go. Now, the Ottomans are obviously going to be a much tougher nut to crack, to the point where it would probably be one of the biggest wars we have. Or could have. Go ahead and march you guys up there. There we go. Actually, let's just have you march just straight there. No, do it from this direction. Let's go ahead and kick up to speed 4. Bokan is your new capital. Tabriz, a victory there. Lovely. Go ahead and attack there. We have Takistan, and then Al-Basra is in the southern part. And we won a battle there. We gained Logistician and Artillerist 1. You're my new artillery brigades, aren't you? Go ahead and move down. Another glorious victory. No. Go away, Britain. Well, this is a reasonable unit and worthy of moving closer to the front lines. Let's get you in Kiev. Let's get you in Kiev. I want you in Mogilev. We won at Bakan. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Move up to Pskov. I should probably send someone up to Sweden and try to make them friendlier to me. They're at war with Denmark, Prussia, Mecklenburg, and Saxony. I'll consider it later. Maybe. Yes, march this route. March this route. My Tsar, the relation between our two nations has been strengthened. Oh, France is trying to butter us up. They think we'll help them against the British. I care little for your European wars. Okay, Persia's going to give me a whole bunch of land. We're going to say no, because I want to completely destroy them. And then our question becomes, do we annex? Or do we vassalize? We can't annex them because they're not considered primitives. And if they become my satellite, they have to do what I say. I really wouldn't gain much by continuing the war, so I just go ahead and make them a satellite. It's fine. So we shall send them. And we have our very first satellite. So satellites have to do what you say. They can't refuse your call to arms, which is of course lovely. I think it's time to pull people out of Persia and begin thinking about our next move. Let me send you here. We don't really have a fort. Oh, we can move up to Kokon. And let's get you gentlemen up there. So I think that'll be it for this episode. We ended with our satelliting of Persia because we couldn't annex them entirely. I mean, we could have taken some land, but we can also annex a satellite, I believe, is an option to us. It might be permanent for the rest of the game, which is fine with me. I have no qualms about that, if they would like to be my satellite and just do as I command. Most importantly, you will immediately notice, if we click on land domination, we're at 57%. We need to see victory conditions. Sakaz now belongs to us. If we can beat the Ottoman Empire, that's going to push us a huge way toward land dominance. How's the war in the rest of Europe going? We've got Prussia sticking its nose into the Netherlands. We've got Sweden being attacked by Denmark. We've got France fighting Portugal, and Portugal's probably going to be losing very soon. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Spain fighting Portugal. No, it's France. I'm confused now. So France and Spain together have control of most of Portugal, which means Portugal will probably surrender soon. How are we doing on idea points? We have 155, so we'll be getting a new one relatively soonish. So the Ottoman Empire will be a very difficult nut to crack. Can we find anything out about the Ottoman Empire? Could use the ledge here. Countries, army size. We're number 1 in the world. The Ottomans have a reasonably strong army. But we've got more manpower than they do too. I'm going to want at least that big an army to defeat them, but we probably won't need any more than that. But I do want to get people in position in case we need follow-ups, because the Ottomans are going to take a while to take down. Although they do have a lot of forts, so the artillery will definitely be welcome. So far history hasn't changed too terribly much. We beat Persia as expected. We're going after the Ottomans as expected. We've got an independent Mecklenburg, which is kind of neat. We've got France rampaging through Northern Europe. We've still got Bavaria, who hasn't really picked sides. And the Ottomans are fighting Austria. I don't want the Austrians to take Austria. I forgot to look at Navy stuff. So my army quality is 133%. I don't know what this means, but it's really high, so that's got to be good. We're making money, unlike everyone except for Denmark. Let me build some... Why can't I build a ship here? Oh, I can only build core provinces with harbors. Let's see here. What do I currently have? I have first-rate ship with the line, first-rate ship with the line, 2 seconds, and a frigate. Give me one more first-rate ship with a line. That's all I'm really concerned about for you. Let's get you moved up to Kerch. Maybe move you down to Kerch as well. Okay. So things are going pretty well for us. A big test is going to be how we do against the Ottomans. If we can trample them pretty quickly, we'll be in a position to threaten Austria if we so choose. I haven't decided yet if I want to join a coalition. Please make sure to comment down below. Let me know if you think I should be joining. Maybe help out the British, maybe help out the French. I don't really want the French to win, and they'd be leading the coalition. I'd rather have our own coalition. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, see, we like Britain too much. We could join Britain's coalition at pretty much any time we wanted to, though. Notice, by the way, that unlike other EU games, or Crusader Kings, whatever, there's no such thing as casus belli. You can declare whatever one you want at any time you want. So that's something to keep in mind. So, that'll be it for this episode. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think of the series so far. Make sure to like, comment down below, and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Avindian, bidding you good day, good fortune,